and then vote on the motion. So, Madam Attorney, would you share with us the first motion that comes out of executive council session?
Yes, sir. I would offer you a motion to authorize the purchase of approximately 1 acre of land adjacent to the Medic 30 station for the renovation of Medic 30. Purchase price would be $24,500.
All right, you've heard the motion. Is there a second?
So moved.
A second from Mr. Lane. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Mr. Brown, can you hear me?
He said he could hear.
Okay, good. All right. That motion passes. The next motion, please.
The next motion would be to authorize the purchase of approximately 2 acres of land at Andrews Chapel Road for $9,000 for the construction of a new fire station.
Council, you've heard the motion. Mr. Pleasure.
That's within my district. I motion to approve.
Mr. Lane, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Yes.
Ms. Childs, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. And both of those motions pass. And now, before we move forward, I need a motion that we come out of executive session.
So move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion by Ms. Childs. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Spencer. All those in favor, raise your hand. And we are now out of executive session. First order of business is our regular public meeting. Again, I apologize for being late. A lot of business to take care of this afternoon, and so as we begin our meeting, Mr. Lane will lead us in our invocation, and followed by his invocation, we will say the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. So Mr. Lane, let us all stand.
Pray with me, please. Gracious and Heavenly Father, as we come before you tonight, we come with grateful hearts. We are grateful for the bounty of blessings that you bestow upon us that surpass even our ability to comprehend. We would ask you tonight that you lay your hand of grace across our public safety officials, our police, fire, and EMS, and the servicemen and women who sacrifice daily across the globe to defend freedom. As elected officials here locally, and certainly for state and federal officials who have also sworn to serve, we ask that you would give us all a heart for service above self. Make us mindful of less fortunate. Make us know that all gifts and blessings come only by you, only by your grace. Let us never forget. We pray all this in the precious name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our September 15th meeting. I assume everyone's had a chance to review those minutes. Is there a motion to approve? I heard Ms. Spencer. Is there a second?
Second, Chairman.
Mr. Lane. All those in favor, raise your hand. And those minutes are approved as written. We have no presentations, Madam Clerk, tonight,
No, sir.
and no public comment. Correct?
Correct.
Great. We may get out of here before 10 o'clock. We do have public hearing to receive public comment regarding a proposed easement to be granted by Greenwood County to the 96 CPW for the installation of a new water line along Business Park Road. Elizabeth, will you clarify that or add any information for us?
Yes, sir, and I would ask Mr. Bateman if I miss anything to jump in and help me out. But this is a request from really 96 CPW as well as US Biomass to improve the water line that serves those two plants along Business Park Road. There is a grant, a rural infrastructure grant that's in play that would be used to make these improvements. One of the things that's required for the grant for 96 CPW to be able to install the new water line is an easement along the stretch of property from the top of the Sloan plant parcel all the way going into the Adams plant parcel. The county, the ownership of that parcel was not entirely clear, which is why I'm recommending a quit claim of an easement rather than an outright grant of an easement. I do not personally believe, we have not done a title search, I do not personally believe the county owns the property. I believe the county has a right of way to that property. But in any case, a quit claim easement would allow 96 CPW to use, to the extent that the county has the right to the property, would grant them the right to use the property for the water line also. And you can see the blue line, I believe, is where the proposed water line would go. It's my understanding they're also seeking an easement from Mill Properties, which would be the other prospective landowner, just to make sure that they've covered all the bases.
You're saying the water line is the dotted purple line there?
Yes, sir.
From 34, I assume, out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we don't have the documents to present to you tonight. We'll have to do that at a later date. They're needing to get a survey, and there just wasn't time to get the survey done. But we wanted to go on and proceed with the public hearing since we had published that in the paper in case anyone was present who wanted to speak.
Can I ask a question, Chair?
Yes, you may.
Madam Attorney, post-construction, is there any opportunity for that easement or that right of way to be challenged?
I mean, there's always the opportunity to be challenged. I guess I don't really understand your question.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking is, once the investment's made, the grant's in place, lines put in, is there just what I said? I mean, we're in operation. Can someone come back and say, hey, I don't think you ever had the right to put that on my property?
If there's a landowner that we don't know about in the chain of title who would object, I mean, yes, they could come in and say, I'm actually the owner and I haven't deeded you that right. So there could potentially be, which is why, my recommendation was, since we know we don't have good title, or we don't believe we have good title, so we can't warrant it to anyone else. The company or anyone using that easement would be well served to get a title search on their own.
But the water line in and of itself, we have the authority to allow it to be placed in the right of way, just as if we were using it.
What we would
We
be
don't.
saying with a quit claim is, we may not have any rights at all, but to the extent that we have a right, we're letting you use it. So we're not saying we are able to grant you this right. We're saying, if we have a right, then you can use our right.
Okay.
How do we assume we have a right to begin with?
There is a deeded right of way
Okay,
for the county on that road.
okay. Whether it includes this strip or not, we don't know.
The county does have a right of way, but I don't think we actually own the dirt. But we do have a right of way.
And we can cede that right of way to the 96 CPW.
Well, we're not ceding them the right of way. We're just giving them, to the extent that we have an interest in it, we're letting them use it too.
Okay. All right. You've heard the background here. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this?
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion that we conduct a public hearing.
Thank you. My mistake. All right, they got a motion for a public hearing, is there a second? All in favor? Now we can go ahead and do it. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this proposal? Hearing none, is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition to this proposal? And hearing none, then I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All in favor? And the public hearing has been closed. We now go to our old business. We have third readings for a number of items tonight. I will read them for us. Ordinance 2020-22 to amend the Greenwood County zoning ordinance being ordinance 13-86 as and if amended to allow winery vineyard as a conditional use in the C2 general commercial zoning district. Mr. Lindler is here. Do you add any additional comments?
No change.
All right, we've heard about this and we've have acted on this before. Is there a motion that we adopt the ordinance?
Move to approve, Chairman.
I second.
Second.
Good deal. Mr. Lane made the motion.
Ms. Childs.
Ms. Giles seconded. Any further discussion, please? All in favor? Those opposed? Mr. Brown? You still can't hear me? You can't hear him, all right. Item 2 under old business, ordinance 2020-23 to amend the Greenwood County zoning ordinance being ordinance 13-86 as and if amended so that 2 tracts of land totaling 343 acres at 2710 County Farm Road in Greenwood, South Carolina, to change zoning classifications from R2 Single Family Residential and AG1 Agricultural and R5 Multi-Family Residential to I1 Light Industrial. Mr. Lindler, do you have any comment for this?
No, sir, there's been no changes since your last meeting, but the developer's here if you have any questions.
All right. Anyone have a question? Then I have a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Allison, motion. Second by Ms. Spencer. All those in favor? And it's so ordered. And ordinance number 3, 2020-24, to create a special tax district to be comprised of real property within the Allenwood subdivision and other matters related thereto. Ms. Kathy Miller, our treasurer, you have any comments to make about this proposed ordinance?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Vice Chair.
Mr. Lane's made the motion, Ms. Childs seconded, all those in favor? And it is so ordered. Last third reading, ordinance 2020-25 to create a special tax district to be comprised of real property within Rock Creek subdivision and other matters related thereto. Again, Ms. Miller, do you have any comments there?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Allison, motion, second. Ms. Spencer, second. All those in favor? And it is so ordered. And that concludes our old business for this evening. New business. Consideration of the acceptance of 1 acre of property from the Warner family at 1120 Highway 221 South for a volunteer fire station. Mr. Skinner, will you lead us through this, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Moats and council. And thank you for approving those previous purchases. It'll help the fire master plan move forward. This property is actually being donated to us, so it should be easier to stomach. If you remember back in March, we came before you with a property on Rock House Road as our number 4 volunteer fire station in the fire master plan. Unfortunately, that property had some legal issues, and we discovered during closing. Steve Holmes met with Max Warner, property owner, on Highway 221 South, who would like to donate 1 acre of land to us. First thing we did was ran that property by George McKinney. He checked it for fire coverage. With this new site on Highway 221 South, we won't lose any structures compared to the old site on Rock House Road. So that was a major plus. It's about little less than 1.5 miles to the southwest of the site you approved back in March on Rockhouse Road. Zooming out, and if you're not familiar with the area, the 1 acre location is there you see the food line, the hot spot south of town and Mount Moriah Road. So we're looking at southern Greenwood County, Councilman Allison's district. The fire coverage map that George prepared for us, a lot of the properties are already covered in the city of Greenwood, and good many will be overlapping with Med 30, but we do pick up 22 along Buggy Court, Rockhouse Road, and Highway 221. It's kind of in this area down here where we pick up most of the new covered structures.
Okay.
You can see the site here on Highway 221 south. Also important, and this is from Chief Holmes, it fills in a coverage gap in a promised land district. We have one station here, and this kind of fills in this area here on Highway 221. So sort of a strategic location that the fire service has been looking at for a while. We initially looked at this site. This is a 70-acre property that the Warner family is going to donate a 1 acre of it to us. We initially looked at this site. Initially looked at this site, this top corner site up here. It didn't perk, so we moved about 500 feet south to this 1 acre site down here. We did get it to perk. If you're not familiar with the DHEC septic tank process, they first come out and dig by hand. If they can't find anything, we have to dig pits with an excavator. And this is Lisa checking the soil in a 4-foot pit. We had to dig about 7 of them on that property. We've gotten real accustomed to this process in the past couple months with our fire station sites. They're not easy to perk. But we did initially find a area of that 1 acre land perked in this corner next to the road. So the plan would be to build a station here and a septic tank here, and hopefully put a well in this back corner. But again, this is a 1 acre site on Highway 221 south that the Warner family would like to donate to the county.
Great.
Director, can I ask a quick question? If you go back to your map, can you show me just with your pointer where this, one more I think, where this site is in relationship to where the initial site was?
So,
That's our site now.
right, so the Rockhouse Road site is right down here.
So you said what, only a mile or a mile and a half away? Okay, thank you.
Right.
Council, have any further questions? Do we offer a motion to accept the property?
Mr. Chairman, I offer your motion to accept it.
Good.
I second, Chairman.
Mr. Allison makes a motion to accept the property. Mr. Lane seconds. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to first go ahead and say thanks to the Warner family for a donation. Very seldom do people give you land, so I'd like to say thanks to that family. I think it is a strategic location for District 2. Thanks to the staff, Josh and Steve and them for working hard to find it and making this happen. I think it'll be a great addition to our fire service, so thank you.
Absolutely. Are you ready to vote? All those in favor? Those opposed? And it is so ordered. And I'm sure the manager will express our deep appreciation to the family for the generous contribution they have made. Thank you, Mr. Skidder.
Thank you.
Item B on our agenda, consideration of the appointment of special tax district commissioners for the following subdivisions. Kathy Miller, our treasurer, do you have any comment? They're listed in the agenda. The Quetta Coates at Springwood and Steve Roberts at Bellmead, District 1 and District 6.
No comment.
No comments? Someone offer a motion to accept these appointments to the special tax district for the following, for the subdivisions identified.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Giles.
Second.
Second by Ms. Spencer. Any discussion? And those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed? And that is so ordered. Item C, Resolution 2020-24, certifying the former Sloan plant in 96 as an abandoned mill site, which was a request from the U.S. Biomass and substantiated by written attestation from representatives of prior owners of the property sold to U.S. Biomass. Mr. Bateman, do you wish to comment on that and give us some more clarification?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Vice Chairman, members of council. The request from U.S. Biomass is for this council to pass this resolution that they would file with the South Carolina Department of Revenue, along with their intent to rehabilitate the building, qualifying their rehabilitation expenditures for claiming on their income tax credits. Based on information that's been provided to the county, the Sloan plant meets the definition of an abandoned mill site, and they would ask for you to approve that. It has no revenue impact on the county, as they would claim these credits on income taxes and not property taxes.
See, okay. Council, any questions? Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move to approve as presented, Chair.
Thank you. From Mr. Lane,
Second.
second from Mr. Allison. All those in favor, raise your hand. And the resolution is passed. Since I'm new at this, Mr. Manager, I assume the resolution has been written and we have it.
We'll take care of it.
Thank you. The vice chair doesn't have to write it, so good.
Yes, sir.
All right, item D, ordinance 2020-26 to amend the Greenwood County zoning ordinance, being ordinance 13-86, and as if amended so that one parcel of land owned by Terry W. Boone, Nantucket Investments, LLC, at 324 Old Abbeville Highway in Greenwood, South Carolina, change its zoning classification from C2 General Commercial to R5 Multifamily Residential. That is a first reading only. We are reading it into the record tonight. And we have another one, item E, ordinance 2020-27, amending Title 4, Chapter 1 of the Greenwood County Code to repeal certain sections governing the hiring and employment of personnel and other matters related thereto. And that is also title only. That concludes the new business on our agenda. We have no pending items, and so we will move now to district reports. Ms. Giles?
The district report, October 13th, you all were invited to the night out down in Troy. Starts at 4 p.m. And then it will serve ourselves at 6 p.m. That's down in Troy, so come on, let's eat with them. On October the 14th, we will have our 6 free COVID testing at Miracle Unity Post 224 at 1300 East Cambridge from 10 a.m. to 2. And then we'll have, like for you all to support the resolution to name the Macedonia Community Center in honor of Dr. Julius Harrison, but that's not due until November.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Giles. Mr. Allison, you have a report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to mention that Saturday we closed out the farmer's market for our season this year. Appreciate everybody supporting the farmer's market. Had a very successful year this year. And we appreciate the county support and the staff for helping us get set up and run that operation. So thank you for your contributions and look forward to next spring when we open back up. Thank you,
Look
sir.
forward to it.
Thank you.
Good fresh vegetables. Ms. Spencer, report from you.
No report.
No report, ma'am. Mr. Lane, you have a report?
Yes, please, Vice Chairman. I want to thank, I continue to be impressed and want to thank the County Recreation Department for their vision and work since Brad Cole has been in office. We have seen significant improvements, particularly in the Ware Shoals area with the recreational facilities there. The manager is aware that we had a conversation several weeks ago about that we intend to construct a half-court outdoor basketball facility in Young's Park, which, for background on that, we get fairly routine requests to the training center to be able to have people be able to participate and just pick up basketball in the evening, but you can't staff that with a county employee and hope people walk in and want to play some basketball. So I really want to thank and express my appreciation to the county for being visionary and providing other options, and particularly in the COVID environment. You know, not knowing when this strange time we were living in may end, you know, it gives the opportunity for people to do healthy things outside. So, Manager, I appreciate the work of you and your staff in that regard. And again, I want to tag along on Councilman Allison's comments and thank the Warner family for that generous donation. We're making tremendous strides in regard to our fire service plan. So I think Steve's left, but to all of you that participated in that, thank you so much. That ends my report, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown, can you hear me?
I think he's talking.
Hold on to the speaker time. He's talking.
Is that speaker?
I can hear you.
There we go.
Hey, he's alive. Do you have a report or a comment or any other thing that you'd like to say?
I have no comment, but I've been listening to you the whole meeting. You waited until you got through voting to ask me, was I here?
That was a plan.
I think that was the plan. Everything's okay.
You're okay.
Yes.
Good.
Just for the record, did you vote against anything?
No, I did not. I didn't even make a comment.
We wouldn't have heard it if you did.
We wouldn't know because we had you muted.
All right. I have a report from my district. Share with you and share with council and have your endorsement, I believe, or consensus. And it is a proclamation that comes to us honoring the work and service of Mr. Frank Weidman, who, as you know, served for a number of years as the president of the Self Family Foundation. And we have put together a proclamation in honor of his service, and I would like to share it with you if council approves, and then ask for your consensus that we submit this to them. It says, whereas Frank Weidman is a native of Washington, D.C. and lives with his wife Lisa in Greenwood. They have 2 daughters and 2 grandchildren. And whereas Frank Weidman is a graduate of the University of South Carolina, go Cox. And whereas Frank Weidman served 24 years in the United States Army, retiring in 1993 as a lieutenant colonel. And whereas Frank Weidman joined the Self Family Foundation in 1993 as president, serving the Greenwood County community and various organizations throughout the state of South Carolina. And whereas Frank Weidman currently serves on the Council of Foundations and was a founding member and first chairman of the South Carolina Grant Makers Network. He's also currently serving or has served in leadership roles with many industry organizations locally and within the Lakelands. And whereas many of the accomplishments of the foundation highlight Frank Weidman's career, such as the expansion of Montessori education in South Carolina's public school, Clemson University's Call Me Mr. program, a $2 million grant to repurpose the federal building in Greenwood, investments to establish the Clemson Center for Human Genetics on the Greenwood Genetics Center campus, and the Greenwood Promise. And whereas Frank Weidman is highly regarded by his colleagues as an asset to the community, the state, and the Southeast in making a difference, now therefore, the Greenwood County Council expresses its appreciation to Frank Weidman III for the many years of service to the Greenwood community, as well as the Self Family Foundation, and wishes him many years of happiness and God's blessings during his retirement. Presented on this 6th day of October by the Greenwood County Council of South Carolina. Do I have a consensus that we approve this and send it forth as a proclamation from our council?
Do you need a motion?
Do we need them? I don't think so. It's read into the record and it will be presented on our behalf. All of it will be signed by all members of council. And since Mr. Weidman now lives in my district, it was an honor for me to present this proclamation for council and for the record.
Well done.
According to my notes, we're just about finished. The manager will have a report for 30 seconds. No, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I'd like to yield my 30 seconds to James Bateman.
Yield it away, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Vice Chairman, members of council, we wanted to present you with this framed certificate that I put my mask back on after done speaking and will bring up to you to see. This is certifying the North Greenwood Industrial Park in Hodges as one of the first 3 sites in the state of South Carolina to achieve the Palmetto Sites designation under the new Department of Commerce certification program. So one of only 3 in the state, others are in Orangeburg and in Florence. It's one of 20 total because the previously certified sites are grandfathered into the new program, but one of the first 3 under the new program. Your park, North Greenwood, was in the first round of this program when it launched in 2020. Palmetto Sites means that it has been checked for readiness for prospects and consultants to know that due diligence has been completed and we have the baseline answers that they're looking for when citing a project.
James, has the Department of Commerce enhanced the requirements for the site readiness certification or for that certification?
They revamped their program with a consulting site location consultant to remove some of the criteria for threshold criteria for meeting certain utility capacities and timelines for extension that they found over time was precluding some sites from achieving certification. We had one in Greenwood, actually, that the only thing stopping it from full certification was not being able to meet the sewer extension timeline. Metro, in this particular instance, not the North Greenwood Park, Metro could have gotten this required sewer capacity to the site in 18 months. The requirement was 12 months. Therefore, under the old certification program, it could not be certified. So that's how they've revamped this program, taking out some of those stringent requirements and really allowed it to meet the consultants and prospects' demand.
Thank you.
How far along is the spec building? I know looks like it's completed, but I don't know.
Officially slated for completion next month, but still ahead of schedule.
How many
So-
square feet?
Power in this week.
Power going in this week.
That's right, yeah.
How many square feet?
100,000.
100,000 square feet.
Expandable to 200,000 square feet. So the timing of this designation of the Palmetto site is perfect with the completion of our spec building, engaging with the industrial broker to help us with marketing the building. This will only add to that marketing effort.
Exactly. Maybe we'll have a client in there in the next 6 months.
We
I
hope.
know I'll be.
Good happen.
Good happen. That's why it's there. Not to look
That's
at,
right.
but to use. Thank you. Pass it down.
We'll gladly display that in your interim
We'll
county
have
economic
Mr.
development office.
Great. Thank you very much, James. Thank you for your good work. I know you had a little bit to do with that. Okay, is that in your report, Mr. Madden?
That is my 30 seconds.
Good, okay. Then, Mr. Madam Attorney, do you have something to report?
No report?
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
No report.
And everybody happy?
Thanks, sir.
Great. Everybody want to go home?
Yes.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Vice Chair.
All right, is there a second? Nobody wants to stay here, stay here. The rest of us, let's rise and leave. Meeting adjourned.